Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Quartet Lesson 1 Part 2 live stream. In the last Part 1 live stream, we covered noun plus toyeba, nara, tori, and dashi. If you're looking for that video, there will be a link up in the corner of this video, I believe the right corner, when I put out the stream cut. Tonight we're covering Part 2 of the lesson, which will be tame ni and tame no, ga kikkake de, you ni naru, you ni suru, and noun ni yoru to. These are the colors that we're using in the new intermediate lessons. In case it's your first time here, we're doing grammar section points with blue, light blue. New words that aren't necessarily in the book yet or weren't in Genki yet are going to be colored by JLPT level. So N4 will be dark blue, N3 will be light green, etc. Any words that are going to show up in later quartet lessons will have this weird little gray color. So that's what you have to look forward to with the coloring in these lessons. Now, before we get started, you know I've always got to do this. Sorry about that. 日本語喋れるようになりたいのか? Hold up. We already did this. We already talked about how you can use our Genki 1 and 2 and now Quartet course to improve your Japanese. じゃあこれは何のため? We're moving. また引っ越す? No, we're transitioning from Patreon to ToKiniAndy.com. なんで? Look. なるほど。新しいやつの方が綺麗だね。Exactly. It's easier to access, it looks better, it's easier to add new content to old lessons. I'm super excited for it.
私も出てるよ。これからよろしくお願いします。
Come join us on ToKiniAndy.com today and kickstart your Japanese learning experience. You'll have bonus grammar sentence videos, textbook practice videos, listening and shadowing videos, vocabulary videos, tests, and you'll be able to track your progress through fully structured lesson plans. Hope to see you there. よろしくね。Okay, enough of that. So thanks for the links, Dan, and it's time to say hello to everyone who's here tonight. So we've got Sophia's Animation Studio. Come to Japan, Dan, my trusty man. Thanks for the links, man, and for all your help all the time. We've got Yuki, of course. Lynn. Carpe Diem is back. I'm glad to see you back here again. I'm glad you're doing well. I don't know if I could say okay, but at least you're home now, so that's awesome. Welcome back. Good to see you. Yatish, Michael, Patrick. We've got Spay and Nikens, and Austin S. and Felipe. And Gankila was here earlier, but I don't know if he's here now or not. I thought I should mention before we get started that I'm experiencing some, I guess, seasonal allergy symptoms. So my eyes are burning, my nose is stuffy. And recently I lose my voice really easily, so my voice is also a bit messy. But I'm going to do my best to do what I can today. We've also got Sarah English, Syntac, the Legionel, Warren Moore, and Chili Cat. How's it going? Still doing Genki, but listen to the stream. Hope to catch up one day. We hope you do too. See you then again. Konbanwa sup, says Lopsang Lama. Not much. Just what I said. Burning eyes. Guys, by the way, I now use the name of Rito. Okay, Rito. We will remember that. I'll try to remember that. You might want to change your name on YouTube so it's easier to remember. We've also got a question up above, I believe, from Michael asking what the difference between shitsumon and gimon is. A shitsumon is something that, like, when you're asking someone a question, shitsumon shimasu, for example, or you're asking them a question, whereas gimon is a more broad term, I'd say, like a question that you have in your mind about something, or the main question that in a research article or something is trying to answer, the main question, more abstract, I guess, than a shitsumon, which is like a direct question to a person. So gimon is more, I guess, abstract would be the best way to put it, compared to a shitsumon, which is more real, in the moment asking a question. That's the best way I could think to explain it. You're probably going to use shitsumon more frequently in conversational situations because you're going to be asking questions, not necessarily talking about big questions. So hope that answers your question. Dead Sally 89, Tony, hi Yuki, Andy, happy to be with everyone here. Happy to have you here. Sadly, I can't change my name. Oh no, I think you can if you go to YouTube up into your settings, but I'm not sure. Yep, same for me, says Sally. Itsumo arigatou, says Yuki. Just finished Genki 1 this morning, hoping to catch up soon. Thank you for your lessons. You're very welcome. Good. Congratulations on finishing Genki 1. That's exciting. Guys, a cool tip. Try Animalian site and Yomi-chan extensions to watch anime with Japanese subs. That's awesome. By the way, I just found out yesterday, 2 days ago, I was watching a YouTube video in Japanese with the subs on, and you can use Yomi-chan on YouTube subs. So that's pretty cool. You can learn a lot that way. Voice is already disappearing. Oh, fair enough. No worries, one in it. We haven't really started anything yet, so you're just in time, actually. All you missed was the advertisement and the hellos. Well, you didn't miss the hellos because I'm saying hello now to you. Thanks for being here. So yeah, tonight we've got 5 different sections, so we're probably going to jump into it shortly. Mangkong says immersion is everywhere. Indeed it is. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but yeah, it is everywhere. So, yeah. If anyone has any questions before we get started, let me know. I'm going to sort of ease into this next one, and we'll get started with tame ni as soon as I get another drink to hopefully make my voice feel a little better. How's it going, Mengkong? It's good to see you here. Yeah, Yuki just said that too. 久しぶり。確かに久しぶりですね。切ったっけ？切ったかもしれない。覚えてない。先週は切ってないんじゃない？ I forget. Alright, guys, so let's go ahead and jump into in order to with tame ni and tame no. So, the first thing to keep in mind is that there is another usage of tame ni, and that is going to be coming up in lesson 3. So this isn't all of the usages of tame ni that we're going to be going over tonight. The one we're going to be going over tonight is in order to do something, and that's going to be with verbs. So there is another one that's used with, nouns and some other usages of it, but we're not going to be covering that tonight. We're just going to be covering the verb usage, which is verb in the dictionary form plus tame ni followed by another verb. Now, the subject of both of these verb portions is going to be the same person. It has to be the same person or thing all the time. If a noun comes after tame, we use no instead of ni. So when you see the examples, it's going to make a lot more sense. But this means this thing or this noun in order to do this. The verb first. So the English is sort of reversed. But you'll see what I mean with some example sentences. So, ラーメンを食べるために日本に行きました. So, I went to Japan in order to eat ramen. That's the reason I went to Japan. So, if we look at this sentence, in the English, we have I went to Japan first, whereas in the Japanese, it comes second. So, that's what I mean by the order is reversed. In order to eat ramen. So, it comes last in the English and first in the Japanese. So, just think of that in the reverse order. I went to Japan in order to eat ramen. ラーメンを食べるために日本に行きました. So we notice here that 食べる is in the dictionary form. So that is important. It needs to be in the dictionary form. One other thing to keep in mind is that these need to be verbs that are like actions that you do. Quartet puts it as verbs that express your will. So like you can't use verbs in the potential form or verbs that express like a state of being, not an action that you're doing. So it needs to be action verbs, basically like taberu, miru, iku, etc. So keep that in mind, and no potential verbs, just verbs in their dictionary form. Whatever comes after that, anything can come after that as long as the subject of what comes after it is the same. So the subject in this sense is me, the speaker. ラーメンを食べるため, that's I'm the subject. 日本に行きました. I went to Japan. So that's that. Next sentence. アニメを見るためにネットフリックスを買いたい. ネットフリックスを買いたい. So you can see here, whatever comes after it doesn't matter. Here we have the 行きました is the polite past tense, and in the next sentence we have the want to conjugation of 買う to buy. So I want to buy Netflix in order to watch anime. So アニメを見るために dictionary form 見る Netflix を買いたい not kaimashita. Oh, that would also be a fine sentence. It would just mean something different. So I want to buy Netflix in order to watch anime. Let's go over a couple examples with nouns in the second sentence. When that happens, we don't use ni. After tame, we use no. So for example, we have これはラーメンを食べるためのスプーンです. This is a spoon for eating ramen, or this spoon is for the purpose of eating ramen. That would be more in the, well, it's sort of weird in this sentence because it takes on a slightly different English translation, although we could use the in order to as well. For example, a spoon in order to, or this spoon is in order to eat ramen is another way you could translate it, but that just sounds terrible in English, so we're not going to do that. We have the subject in this sentence, and that's kore, this, whereas in the other sentences for tame ni, we did not have watashi wa. But the subject there was implied as watashi wa. So we have これは, the subject is これ this. ラーメンを食べるためのスプーンです. This is a spoon for eating ramen. So tame can also be translated to for, ing something. So yeah, when the noun comes after it, it's sort of marking that object as an object for doing something else. And what it's the object for doing is whatever's in the first sentence. So might sound a little bit confusing, but I think this sentence makes that pretty obvious. Let's look at the next sentence. I had a hard time saying Netflix last time, so let's see how I do this time. Netflix は映画やテレビ番組を見るためのサービスです. So in this case, we have a service that is for the purpose of watching movies and television shows. And that thing is Netflix. So the subject is Netflix. Netflix is a service for watching movies and TV shows. So in this kind of sentence with the noun, I feel like the subject is going to be stated a little bit more frequently. I think not in all of the example sentences within Quartet was the subject explicitly stated, but when it wasn't explicitly stated, it showed up in the conversation earlier, so it was obvious what the person was talking about in those examples. For example, in the main example sentences in Quartet, it's それ何のアプリ? What is that app? 音楽を聞くためのアプリだよ. So it's an app for listening to music. So you don't have to put このアプリは音楽を聞くためのアプリだよ. Because, well, it's already been said. Right. So Netflix is a service for watching movies and TV shows. Netflix は映画やテレビ番組を見るためのサービスです. Yeah, of course, is the, I've got a bug flying around in here all of a sudden, is the and. It's not like to because it implies that there are other things it's for as well, not just movies and TV shows. Although that's pretty much all it's for, but anyway. So you could put to here if there was only two things that the service or whatever it was for, but I used the ya because it implies that there are more things. So let's go ahead and jump into the dialogue for tameni and tameno. You'll remember from last lesson, or you might not remember, but you might remember that last time, Yuki, Andy, and Ando were going to a party, and Ando was ignoring Yuki, or at least she thought he was ignoring her. And she was going to ignore him because she was still angry at him for something. Anyway, we're at the party still. So that's what this whole dialogue section is going to be about. So, 仲良くするためにどうする? 仲良くするために? 何もしない。なんでだよ。だって、俺と仲良くなりたくないと思う。まあ、そうかな。これは仲良くするためのパーティーじゃないし。Let's read it at a normal speed. 仲良くするため、どうする? 仲良くするために、どうする? 仲良くするために? 何もしない。なんでだよ。だって、俺と仲良くなりたくないと思う。まあ、そうかな。これは仲良くするためのパーティーじゃないし。Alright, let's go over the English translation. We'll get to your questions and question time. So, 仲良く, let's quickly mention that 仲良く will be showing up in lesson 9. It's not covered yet, but it means to be nice to someone or to get along with someone. Or in this kind of situation where people aren't getting along, it means when you add suru to it, it means to make up with them, to make up with someone who you're fighting with. So 仲良くするためにどうする? What are you going to do? どうする? In order to ために make up. 仲良くする. So 仲良くするために so Ando-san asks 仲良くするために in order to make up? So here usually we'd have something after it, but it's just a question that he doesn't understand what the reasoning, why does he need to make up with the person? So in order to make up, what are you talking about? 仲良くするために? Yeah. 何もしない. I won't do anything. なんでだよ? So なんでだよ specifically means what the heck, man. So なんでだよ. You'll hear this one quite a bit actually. だって because a very casual because 俺と仲良くなりたくないと思う. Excuse me, because I don't think she wants to make up. The she is implied here, not mentioned. 俺と仲良くなりたくない doesn't want to make up with me or become friends with me or be friendly with me. と思う, I think. I don't think she wants to be. So it's 思う in the, not the negative, but the verb before it is in the negative. So it means I don't think she wants to. Blah, blah, blah. Or I think she doesn't want to do this. So, either way. まあ、そうかな. Well, I wonder if that's true. これは仲良くするためのパーティーじゃないし. So here we have the ための with a noun after it. This isn't a party for the purpose of making up anyway, or for becoming friends with each other anyway. Most parties are, I think. So, これは this is not a party for the purpose of パーティー、ためのパーティーじゃない. So it's not a party for the purpose of making up with Yuki, in essentially. So これは仲良くするためのパーティーじゃないし. Question time. Why are you studying Japanese? So 周りの人と話すために日本語を勉強しています. So that's my reason. I'm studying Japanese in order to speak with the people around me because I live in Japan. That's why I started studying Japanese, but everyone has a different reason. So what's your reason? So you're going to change what comes before ために. Remember, it needs to be a verb that is active and in the present tense. Present tense, short, the dictionary form. And what comes after ために, you can copy this exactly. 日本語を勉強しています. Thank you so much, Genkilla. It's hot, guys. Take this time to drink water. I'll drink some tea. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All donations have to be read out by Yuki, so Yuki!
こんばんは。私のパジャマでルックがバレてしまうよね。
パジャマじゃないだろう。
はい。ありがとう、元気な。It's hot, guys. Take this time to drink water. 本当？それボーダーかな
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
Thank you. All right. Let's see if I missed anything. アンディを見るために起きました。Perfect sentence syntax. Very nice. So quickly before we get started, just like Japan, Japanese come to Japan said Q time のために Q time を使ってね. Yes, please use the Q time marker to answer each question so that I know what to read in case things get hectic in here. Please use Q time before your answers to this question. And when you have a question that is not related to question time that you want me to answer, please put question, just like on the Discord, before your question so that I don't miss it, because there's a lot of chat that goes on while I'm going through the section, so I often miss them. I think I saw a Michael question, though. Let's see. 第2名の文法で
あれ、それさ、
question じゃないか。じゃあ大丈夫。OK. The moment you don't know how to learn because you're so far behind. No worries, man. アニメを見るためにテレビです。ためのテレビです。なるほどね。TV for the purpose of watching anime. Yeah, Tom, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Hope you're having a good day. Is it as hot in... I'm sure it's way hotter in Tokyo than it is now, huh, Tom? It's way too hot today. Although this house usually stays pretty cool, but my computer here tends to warm things up in this room. ラーメンをspoon de. Okay. So, Japanese slang and idioms. What I'm talking about is renge だよね. Renge. So, I don't know if you're still here. Japanese slang and idioms 101. I believe he has a channel too, guys. Check him out if you want to. I'm talking about arenge. So, ラーメンを食べるためのスプーンです. What I mean by that, of course, is arenge. It's the white, it's like, it looks like it doesn't look like a spoon. It's more like I don't know what you would call it. We don't really have them in the States. They're like a flat on the bottom, kind of have a big area, and you scoop up the soup and then dip the ramen noodles into that spoon while you bring it up to your mouth to eat and slurp up the noodles. So it's called arenge, but I didn't put that in the sentence and I forgot to mention it. So thanks for reminding me. Great teaching skills, Andy. And of course, Yuki, I'm totally loving the new site and the new content. Thank you so much, Sarah English. I'm happy to hear that. I'll just mention really quickly that, yeah, we've moved mostly off of Patreon now. I'm still putting everything up on Patreon that we create. But the new website, ToKiniAndy.com, is far better for going through all of the content we've created so far. Over 100 videos up there right now. We've also got QUARTET content. We've got bonus sentence videos. So we just went over a couple bonus sentences for tame ni tame no. But later tonight or tomorrow, we'll be uploading a video on the new website and on Patreon, of course, that has extra sentences for each and every grammar point that we go into a little bit more detail. It gives me an opportunity to go into even more detail because we only have about 2 hours each of these streams before I need to get to bed because I have work in the morning. So it gives me an opportunity to cover things I might have missed or to just go into a little bit more detail. So those are great. And the vocabulary videos are also up there. Someone just literally joined the new website for a year. Thank you so much, Meglish. Appreciate it. I don't know if you're here tonight, but if you are, appreciate it. 日本語勉強するためのToKini Andy ですよね。そうですよ、Yatishさん。That's exactly what I am. I mean, conversation time, but Deeple tells me that isn't the way to say it. Hello from... Hi, Malta. How's it going, Lawrence? It's good to see you. That's pretty awesome. We've got someone from Malta here tonight. Thanks, guys. Hello from Poland. Warm greetings from Europe. How's it going, Nina? People from all over the world. So cool. So cool. Dr. Ganzilla says, you should all have a drink. Thank you, sir. Whoa. There's a lot more chat down below that. Okay, I better go a little bit faster. Hello from Montreal, or Linda. Hello. Q time. 本を読むためにゲームをするために言葉が好きために日本語を勉強している。そうだね。So your sentence is really close to you, and you're also using the tameni, which will be coming up in lesson 3, so that's fine. You can. It's no problem. But you have to have na between ski and tameni. So that's the one we're going to be covering in lesson 3. 言葉が好きなために. So you need a na between na adjectives like ski and tameni for that one that's coming up in lesson 3. So keep that in mind. 日本語を勉強している. Otherwise, you're good. Otherwise, you're fine. Yuki-san, you both look nice. Thank you very much. 何そう。漫画を読むために日本語を勉強しています。Good sentence, babe. 日本語の本を読むために日本語を勉強してます。Says Podzy. Good sentence. Q time. 日本人のサラリーマンとビールを飲むために日本語を勉強しています。いいですね、トム。日本語の勉強いるだろう、それに。日本に旅行するために日本語を勉強しています。いいですね。Regular question is question. Thank you very much, Dan. 日本で住みに行くために日本語を勉強しています。I think you just could put 住むために. You don't need to put... I don't even know if you can... 住みに行くために? Never heard... 住むために is fine. Just 日本で住むためにeither way is fine. Yeah, で or に日本で住むために or 日本に住むために日本語を勉強しています。Hello, Christian. How's it going? Q time. 日本語の本も読んだり日本語でテレビを見たりするために日本語を勉強しています。Good sentence. Austin using that BD. Q time from Felipe. 彼女の家族と話す. So you can't use So this is 話せる is the potential form. You cannot use the potential form with ために. We'll be able to use that in our next grammar or the third grammar point, but not with this one. So you just use 話す. So, 彼女の家族と話すために日本語を勉強しています。So, 家族, I'll put that in chat. と話すために. There we go. いつもありがとうございます。ToKini Andy. 日本に行ったら日本人と話すために日本語を勉強しています。So same exact thing, Patrick, there. We want to use 話すために. So 話せる. You feel like you should be able to say in order so that I can do this, but we don't use the potential form with ために. It's going to be ために. It's going to be the dictionary form. So 話すために. In order to talk to Japanese people if I go to Japan. So you just want to use the dictionary form. 話すために. RPG ゲームをするために日本語を勉強しています。いいですね、選択。退屈を消す。こいつ使えるの退屈しないためかな。We haven't gotten to the negative ために yet.
退屈じゃなくてね、to kill time ってこと？
そう。
暇を潰すじゃない？
そうだね。You could use to kill time for that. 暇を潰すために。潰す。暇を潰すために。You could use that instead, Michael. It would probably be a better sentence than that. One of the problems, 退屈を消す. You don't消す退屈, unfortunately. So, yeah, go with 暇を潰す. That's a pretty good one. ライトノベルを読むために日本語を勉強しています。いいですね。ヤティッシュ。ABC がない言語を話すために日本語を勉強しています。なるほどね。日本で旅行するために日本語を勉強しています。Good one, Icons. Q time. 字幕なしでアニメを見るために日本語を勉強しています。Nice. How does the content on the website differ from the YouTube videos? So the stream cuts are on the website as well, but there's here. I'll very quickly give you an idea. Let's go here quickly because I think we got to all the questions then. I'll go preview. Close that out. Give me 2 seconds. And I'll show you the exact difference. Oops. My courses. So here, we'll just jump into Genki quickly. The quartet writing course is almost ready, guys. Almost ready. So here is what the course looks like. So we've basically got a vocabulary video where Yuki and I go over the vocabulary. Then the grammar stream cut is, of course, on YouTube. That's already there. But then we've got bonus sentences and grammar. So extra sentences that weren't in the original video. And I go into detail on those. And you get to shadow Yuki in those videos and repeat after her. So you get some speaking practice with those. We've got textbook practice videos where we do all the textbook practice exercises in Genki, all of them, with you. Listening and shadowing practice where we go through all of the dialogues in Genki and add all of the dialogues from the grammar streams for you to shadow and practice listening to. We've got some sort of structure stuff. So like workbook, time, reading, and writing. It encourages you to go do those sections. And then if you, for example, go into them, you can click that you completed them. So I completed the workbook and you get the check mark and it shows on the main page that you're making progress through here. So I've completed 9 out of 112 sections. We've also got reading and writing, the challenge for each of the textbook practices. There's a couple of them that are we challenge you to record yourself and then we correct you. Then there's a test and we've got extra links and resources and I'm going to be adding some extra exercises in the future. So we have stuff like that for all of Genki 1 and 2 and Quartet as well. So that's what the difference is between what's just on YouTube and what's on the website. There's a lot more on the website. That's the main thing. Okay. どうもありがとう。どういたしまして。Question. I thought having the vocabulary categorized by type, noun, adjective, e-adjective, non-adjective, go Denver, beachy Denver, be regular, was very useful when learning vocabulary. The new version is more difficult to follow. Would you consider adding such a thing for Quartet? Not necessarily in the video, but maybe as an additional page. Yeah, it would be a good idea. When the main issue when looking at the vocabulary book in Quartet, So like Genki was organized that way, right? But the thing with quartet is it's organized by reading. So each of the words you're supposed to learn is organized by when it shows up within the reading, in the order that it shows up in the reading. So there's no logical order to it. And most of them are nouns, right? There's not a lot of verbs. Most of them are nouns. There's a couple e-adjectives, I guess, couple adjectives, but mostly nouns. There are verbs, there are adjectives, of course. So we could definitely consider reorganizing them.
それリオーガナイズする方がいいのか、それともさ、なんかスライドの端っこのところに noun とか adjective って書いてある。
でもそういう意味じゃなくて、
そのカテゴライズしてほしいんだよね。
そうだね。多分そうだね。
いい adjective
We could split them up. We won't be able to change the first video because, well, that's already finished. But we can consider doing something like that for the second video. We'll see how hard it would be to reorganize it all. We haven't recorded the lesson 2 vocabulary video yet, right? So we could do something like that probably. Thanks for the feedback, Lynn. We could probably do something like that. That makes sense because I was kind of sad about the organization as well for the videos, but we'll see. For tameni, isn't it used for more a strong personal desire? I kind of see it as a more intense form of yoni, but I'm guessing that both might be interchangeable in daily conversation. If we're talking about this tameni, this one seems more practical to me, but both verbs must be comparing it to yoni, just on its own, yoni. 行くように、行けるように. So like yoni for starters, you can use with potentials. So that I can do something. 行けるように頑張ります. Whereas tameni is for, it's not, you can't use potentials for starters. It's more of, in order to do this activity that I, this activity. This or an item in order to do this thing. It's a little bit more concrete, perhaps. What's that, Yuki?
さっきのパトリックが間違えた日本に行ったら日本人と話せるために日本語を話せます。
So それはようにすれば OK. Yeah, so like Yuki was mentioning Patrick's example where he used 話せる. So with ように, if you want to say I want to become able so that I can become able to speak Japanese, we're going to be going over that with ようになる. You could use ように. So 話せるように勉強しています. We haven't actually covered that grammar yet. I think it'll show up a little bit later. But yeah, I think you're going to use ように more with potentials and this one more with straight up verbs. So like I'm practicing kanji so that I can do this, or not so that I can do this, to do this. It's a little bit less yeah, the potential is what the big difference is, I'd say. That was a roundabout explanation, but yeah. Q time 日本の大学で勉強するために日本語を勉強していますね。Close. Nice, Livio. そう思ってたわ。Yoni meant like in the same manner as. That's another usage of yoni. There's a bunch of usages of yoni. We're going to be covering a couple of them tonight. But when we get to yoni in the book that is just straight up yoni, 話せるようになんとかする. We'll go into a little bit more comparison of tameni and yoni. I'll have to research it a little bit more to get a bit more elegant explanation. Like I know when to use them differently, but I can't explain it off the top of my head right now. So sorry about that. 日本の文化と文学につながるために日本語を勉強している。つながるため。まあ。親しむため。親しむためにね。そうだね。親しむ is a verb you'd like to use. 親しむ. Yuki's mother and sister helped us write a few articles for the Quartet 1 writing course. And they use 親しむ a lot in this way. And I actually removed it from a lot of their articles because we haven't covered it yet. But it's what you'd use there. So maybe I'll put them back in there. 親しむ. Yeah, so you'd want to say 日本の文化と文学 に親しむためにに親しむ、に親しむために日本語を勉強しています。そうそうそう、親しみね。To befriend or to get to know something is what it means. 日本に引っ越すために日本語を勉強しています。いいですね、ヨナス。範囲外だけど、日本の家庭の数学ってマジ異なるものですね。A と B などの係数の値を求めるなんて自国にも教わらない。A と B などの係数値を求めるなんて。I don't know enough about math to be able to know exactly what you're talking about, but Yuki might be able to answer it. Thanks for the answer, though. Maybe other people have no problem with quartet order. That makes sense. Like, for just studying the grammar on the vocabulary on its own, it would make sense to have it more organized, but we'll see. What? This is... Matthew Keehan. Did I miss something? Ah, 60. How's it going? 親しむ、親しむ. To get to know. Exactly. Okay, perfect. Okay, guys. So I think we've got enough answers for that. Thank you so much. I think that's the most question time answers we've ever had on a live stream. I'm pretty sure it's really close to the most ever. So that's awesome. So let's go ahead and jump into the next one. We're 38 minutes in and we've only done a single section. The next one's somewhat straightforward, I feel like. I never used it much before seeing it here in Quartet, but it seems pretty common. So the reason I do this with がきっかけで. So to use がきっかけで, by the way, the が is the が particle. So the actual word is きっかけ and で is also a particle. So が and で are particles and the word is きっかけ, which is like opportunity or the reason, right? Something like that. So we use the really it's a noun がきっかけで. But you can also use the short past tense of a verb, turn that into a noun with no or koto, nominalization, right? Turn whatever comes before it into a noun with no or koto, and then use がきっかけで. Now, what seems to be the most common usage of this when I've looked up a bunch of examples is short form of the short past of a verb plus no or koto がきっかけで. But nouns also happen. So let's go ahead and look at a few examples to show you what this means. Essentially, it's the initial reason for something happening. We have a situation where, well, let's look at the example sentence and I'll explain it there. ソービームというブログを読んだのがきっかけでスペインに行きました。ソービームというブログを読んだのがきっかけでスペインに行きました。So I went to Spain after being motivated by reading the blog Soulbeam. So being motivated could be one translation of this, or the initial reason I went to Spain was because I read the blog Soulbeam. So it was the motivating factor or the thing that changed me from not going to Spain to going to Spain. So it's the reason for it. And that's pretty much the gist of it. It's the reason for it. And it's a little bit polite, but it showed up in like a couple thousand YouTube videos when I searched it up. So, excuse me. So it's common enough. Yeah. ソービームというブログを読んだのがきっかけでスペインに行きました. So the reason I went to Spain, this is a true story by the way, I went to Spain after being motivated by reading the blog Soulbeam. I don't know if the blog still exists, but she's an inspiring writer who walked across Spain, and that inspired me to walk across Spain, though by a much lesser walked path than she did. Yeah. So looking at this, スペインに行きました, that's the thing I did that I hadn't done before whatever this thing is happened. So that thing that inspired me to do this, or that was the initial reason for me doing this, going to Spain, comes in the first part of the sentence. ソービームというブログを読んだ. I did that, and that inspired me to go to Spain. So 新しい仕事を見つけたことがきっかけで会社を辞めた。The cue for, it's another way you could translate it. The cue for quitting my company was that I found a new job. Or I quit my company for the initial, or for the reason, no, that's weird. The reason I quit my job was that I found a new job. Would be another way you could translate this. But I like the cue for quitting my company was that I found a new job. That's one way you could absolutely translate this. Let's go over some nouns coming before it. Barbecue がきっかけでユキと友達になった Another true story. The initial reason we became friends was a barbecue, or the motivation behind, or the initial factor for us becoming friends was a barbecue. That's what caused us to become friends. That's where we met, for example. When you're talking about meeting people, or when you first had a special idea, and you're giving the reason for it, this is a very common construction to use. So, バーベキューがきっかけでユキと友達になった。元気のレッスン3の質問をよく聞かれた。Period. そのことがきっかけで元気を教え始めた。So, I found a lot of examples of きっかけで with そのこと when people are speaking. そのことがきっかけで元気を教え始めた。So, what's going on here is that usually you'd have a verb here, and that would be 聞かれた。聞かれたことがきっかけで元気を教え始めた。So, you can get rid of the period and the その and just say 元気のレッスン3の質問をよく聞かれたことがきっかけで元気を教え始めた。But a lot of times in conversation or in YouTube videos or when people are talking, they instead are saying something that happened, and then they say それがきっかけで or そのことがきっかけで. I hear it a lot, so keep that in mind. You're not necessarily going to hear a regular noun or the past tense before がきっかけで. You might hear そのこと or それが fairly often, and it's pointing to the sentence that came before it. そのことがきっかけで元気を教え始めた. I was often asked questions about Genki Lesson 3. That's the initial reason that I started to teach from Genki. I only planned to teach up to Lesson 3, but I ran a poll after I taught Lesson 3, and it turned out that 90% of the people on my channel were there for Genki, so I figured I should just keep going. It's a good thing I did. Let's jump into the dialogue. I'll read it slowly one time, then at full speed. I'll go over the English translation, then we'll get to question time and your questions. 仲良くするための that's not slow at all. 仲良くするためのものじゃないんだって。何が？パーティーが。何がきっかけで私が飲み会に誘われてないから怒っているって思ったんだろう。誰かがそう言ったかな？そうかな。そういえばそんなに飲み会一緒にしているの？まあ週に1、2回1、2回くらいかな。もっと誘ってよ。Full speed. 仲良くするためのものじゃないんだって。何が？パーティーが。何がきっかけで私が飲み会に誘われてないから怒っているって思ったんだろう。誰かがそう言ったかな？そうかな。そういえばそんなに飲み会一緒にしているの？まあ週に1、2回くらいかな。もっと誘ってよ。Let's go with the English translation. Okay, there's a couple long ones in there. 仲良くするためのものじゃないんだって。You could also say もん。You don't, in conversation, this might not be mono. It might be もん。Mono is often shortened to もん。So 仲良くするためのものじゃない。仲良くするためのもんじゃないんだって。This isn't a thing for making up, apparently. 何が？ What isn't? パーティーが The party. 何がきっかけで私が飲み会に誘われていないから怒っているって思ったんだろう。Okay, this is a complicated sentence. Let's read the English translation once, then I'll break it down. I wonder what his motivation for thinking that I'm angry because I'm not being invited to drinking parties is. I wonder what his motivation for thinking that I'm angry because I'm not being invited to drinking parties is, or I wonder what is his motivation. Okay, there's an is missing from the English translation. Sorry about that. So, you can put 何 before がきっかけで. Technically, 何 is a noun, I think. It's treated as a noun. So you can put it before がきっかけで to ask a question. What was the initial reason, or what was the motivating factor behind you doing something? So she's asking, I wonder what, there's the だろう. I wonder what is the motivating factor, or the reason behind him thinking, so 思った him thinking, 私が飲み会に誘われてない I'm not being invited to drinking parties. So から怒っている I'm angry って思ったんだろう Why did he think that? って思ったんだろう何がきっかけで something 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 って思ったんだろう What is the reason for him thinking that? And this is the thing he thinks 私が飲み会に誘われてないから怒っている Okay? You got that? We can look at it a little bit more later if you want to have a look at it a little bit more, or if you're a little bit confused by it still. But here's the thing that he thinks, and 何がきっかけでそう思ったんだろう That's what, that's what sort of sandwiches it in. 誰かがそう言ったかな I wonder if someone said that. そうかな I wonder. そういえば Speaking of which, remember いえば came up last week, or 2 weeks ago. そんなに飲み会一緒にしているの Speaking of which, are you guys having that many drinking parties together? Or are you drinking that much together? まあ, well, 週に1、2回ぐらいかな About 1 or 2 times per week. I said good I. I always say good I in conversation. I almost never use could I, so it's a little bit harder for me to say it. Just so you know. もっと誘ってよ Huh? Invite me more, man. By the way, the te form followed by yo can be somewhat of a light command. 誘ってよ or sort of joking almost. もっと誘ってよ Just so you know. Question time. 何がきっかけでこのチャンネルに来ましたか What was the initial reason or the motivation for you coming to this channel? What was the initial reason you came to this channel? An example explanation or an example answer would be Q time, colon, 元気を探したのがきっかけでこのチャンネルに来ました The initial reason I found this channel is because I searched for Genki. So please tell me the initial reason or the motivation behind you coming to this channel. This channel being ToKini Andy. That's question time. All right, let's see what we missed in chat. How's it going, everyone? I want to see Yuki. You missed her earlier. She was on earlier. She had what is it? Genkila sent us a little donation. She has to read all those. So she was on earlier, but she's busy at the moment. But she might be on a little later. I don't know. We'll see. I think I already read that. 海外だから読まなくては良いのにね。あ、そういうことかね。はいはいはい。関係ないから。はい、わかりました。先週楽しかった2人は。そうだね。So this one is a little bit different. So on the practice stream, which will be next week, Yuki's on for the whole thing because, a lot of the questions she can help me answer. And we usually have her read all the question times and stuff. But on this one, the flow, we don't have time to really spend a whole lot of time on question time. So having her come on and split, for the whole thing would just sort of, we probably couldn't finish everything. So it has to be just me for these. Sorry. 負けないぜ says you. Let's see. Okay, let's drop down into the question time. Hayden, how's it going, Kyushu Trail? 何? Austin. Question. Is there a difference between using no or koto? Not. はい、ユキが調べた。Before I answer, let's see what she says. ことversus no. はい。
そのこととのは意味が全く同じでしょ
They're exactly the same meaning, but ことの方が丁寧でしょ丁寧。こと is a little bit more polite. Little bit. Not a whole lot, but it's a little bit more polite. Oh, but she found more. Let's see.
シチュエーションによってことしか使えない場合とのしか使えない時があるらしい。あ、そうですか。例えばことしか使えない場合は、はい、その後にですとかだとか
でもこれは必ずがきっかけでの話だから
確かに
多分大丈夫そこ
でのしか使えない場合は、この体の のセンス
はい
のやつが最後のバーブ、メインバーブ。
見るとか
そうそう。
は no しか使えない。
そう
Oh, that's interesting.
だってほら、ここ、
はいはい
私は、
Alright, I'm gonna answer you right now. Okay.
私は彼が
次
歌うのを聞いた。
はいはい。
はい。
Okay.
次で、のしか使えないのは、止める、手伝う、待つは絶対、
はい。
のしか使えない。
Okay, ちょっと待って。はい, so apparently, this is new information for me. When it has to do, well, for starters, koto is a little bit more polite. Also, when this comes after, immediately after it, it needs to be koto, it can't be no. So, koto des, no des. No des でも使えるじゃん。But that no is a different meaning. It's the explanation no. So that's why you can't use it when you're using it as a nominalizer. Also, apparently, for bodily functions like looking, miru, listen, experience, kanjiru, kiku, miru, stuff like that, you can only use no apparently. Apparently you can't use koto. I didn't know that. Also,
それにつけるんじゃない。それが最後のバーブになる。だから
when the final verb. Oh, じゃあきっかけでは関係ないか。がきっかけで for never mind. Doesn't matter for がきっかけで。
そうだから最後の
はいはいはい。Okay, but that doesn't matter then. Okay, never mind. That's when you're using it just as a nominalizer, and if what immediately comes after it is a bodily verb like miru, kiku, something like that, then it has to be no. It can't be koto, but that has nothing to do with ga kikkake de, so you don't have to worry about that right now. Okay, so they're pretty much exactly the same, except that koto is a little bit more polite in this situation, I guess. Okay, お久しぶり. How's it going, Kyushu Trails? Good to see ya. Wombat is a typo today. Handy, I'm going through your Genki 1 Lessons playlist. It's so helpful. Thank you. You're very welcome, Suria Rai. I'm glad to hear that they're helping you. Key time がきっかけで来ました。いいですね。Come to Japan. YouTuber のアルゴリズムが、俺は日本語が好きと思ったのがきっかけで、このチャンネルに来た。なるほど。YouTube のアルゴリズムが、俺は日本語が好きと思ったのがきっかけで、OK.
合ってるよ。
Yep, so, OK. Question time. 日本語を勉強したがきっかけで、このチャンネルに来ました。はい。
ここがのだ。ここがのだ。
なんで？
日本語を勉強したのがきっかけで。
あ、そうだね。はい。したのがきっかけで。No or こと。勉強、はいはい。I missed that. 日本語を勉強したのがきっかけで、or 勉強したことが。So before the が、so remember that's the particle が. So ga is marking what comes before it, a noun generally as the subject of がきっかけで. You're going to have to use no or こと to nominalize the verb that comes before it. So you have to have no or こと. So here we have 探したのがきっかけで. You could also have 探したことがきっかけで. Either way. Good call, Yuki. 理由を忘れたのがきっかけでこのチャンネルに来ました. Okay, so the reason that you came to this channel is because you forgot the reason. So that sentence doesn't quite work because what that means is that the reason I came to this channel is because I forgot the reason. So that doesn't work. What you would just say is きっかけが忘れたかな? きっかけが忘れた or きっかけを忘れた is what you would say there. Because きっかけ itself is a noun that means motivation or reason. きっかけが忘れた or きっかけを忘れた sorry きっかけを忘れた。日本語のビデオを探したのがきっかけでこのチャンネルを見つけました。いいですね。Good sense, Michael. 元気を教わるチャンネルyou need an extra there チャンネルを探したのがきっかけで来ちゃったくそいいねマイコ。But you need that extra in channel ね。病気の時授業に行けないことがきっかけでこのチャンネルに来ました。Okay. I forgot that you can actually use I guess you can you use ないいけないことがきっかけで So in quartet it only covers past tense only short past tense But I guess it is possible to use the negative, although it doesn't cover it here or mention that it's okay. But that sounds fine to me. So we're going to keep it there. All good. 誰かと勉強するのが
みんなチャンネルってできないんだな。
そう、チャンネルが難しいね。
チャンネルだよ。
I think I missed one. Oh no, I didn't miss one. Okay, so Tony's message, Dead Sally 89, it's gonna be a little different. 誰かと勉強 See, this is where you would use ために。勉強するためにこのチャンネルに来ました。So here you'd want to use ために is because you came here to study with people in order to study with people. So that would be the perfect opportunity to use ために for きっかけで to make that work. I guess you'd have to say 誰かと勉強何が言えるんだろうそこが。Yeah, no, you know what? You can't use that for this because that's perfect for ために. It needs to be something that happened or that, yeah, something generally that happened or an event that's the noun. It can't just be why you felt like you should do that thing. Like, 誰かと勉強したかった. I wanted to study with someone. So that's the perfect opportunity for ために. Yuki has something to say, but 使えなくない？
誰かっていうのがさ、そこがあれじゃない？
誰かが、そう、
そう、
exactly. そう、今言った。そう、今言った。So yeah, it has to be a specific event or an action. The event is the noun. It's generally going to be some event that happened. That comes before がきっかけで. Or an action for the verb that happened or that you did, and that's the reason for it. If you're trying to say that in order to do this, I came to the channel, you're going to use ために. Okay. 元気の第三版を探したのがきっかけでこのチャンネルに来ました。いいね。元気第三は難しいはい。勉強したが元気第三が難しかったのがきっかけで。
そうです。
だよね。はい。第三が難しかったのがきっかけで。
でも勉強も入れたよね。元気第三の
勉強が難しかったのがきっかけで. So we learned something else from this example. It seems that adjectives in their past tense can work here too. It doesn't just have to be verbs. So it looks like Quartet left a lot out that we're discovering here. Just from your example sentences. So that's good. Sweet. This isn't in the dictionaries of basic Japanese grammar, so I couldn't find a whole lot of extra on it. I just had to look at a lot of examples on YouTube. I looked at like 50 examples on YouTube to get a better feel for it since I didn't really use it much myself before this. I didn't actually see any adjectives before it in the examples that I saw, but it seems to be fine. Yuki also seems to think that it's fine. 勉強が難しかったのがきっかけで something. So that's what you would use for there. 一段と五段形容活用の使い方を探したのがきっかけでこのチャンネルに来ました。So remember, it needs to be the past tense. So 探したのがきっかけでチャンネル. So we have the extra n there ね。チャンネルに来ました。やてぃし。日本語のレッスンを探したのがきっかけでこのチャンネルに来ました。Perfect. And remember that's small n. Through the small two in there. Love it, やてぃし. Okay. Teiform 歌 Oh nice. By the Teiform song を探したのがきっかけでこのチャンネルに来ました。ナイス。いつもチャンネルと使ってる恥の波を感じた。を感じたチャンネルだよ。鈴木さん。誰も 誰も指摘されてない。そうだね。今更なんて。
みんなね、トンネルとチャンネルは
So it's different. I made on most of my early Genki videos, I think I spelled it, the final screen channel. I think I put it wrong as well. So it's an easy one to mess up. Okay, so past tense. Negative is okay. Negative is okay. Past tense of adjectives seems to be okay. And verbs need to be in the past tense with no koto. Also, past tense adjectives need to have no koto before ga kikkake de. And otherwise, we're good to go. All right, good job, guys. Our next section is going to be come to do with yo ni naru. This is a fun one. It's one that I wanted to use a lot while we were studying through Genki and people had questions and tried to make sentences. And I was like, oh, this would be perfect for that. But we didn't know how to use it yet. So this is one of many ways that you can use yo ni. This is with naru. We're also going to be covering yo ni with suru a little bit later. So stick around for that if you're interested. So come to do, yo ni naru. Come to do, by that I mean something I didn't do before or was not able to do before, and now I do that thing habitually, or I can do the thing that I couldn't do before. So here's how it works. We've got the verb in the dictionary form plus yo ni naru. This situation means that you started to do something habitually that you did not do before. So that's verb dictionary form plus yo ni naru. The verb in the short potential form, so can do, means that you became able to do that something that you could not do before. A verb in the short negative plus yo ni naru means that I believe what am I looking for? You can't, that's a special one we're going to be covering a little bit later, but yeah, we're going to cover that one a little bit later. But with the short negative with yo ni naru means that you gradually stopped doing something that you did before. So you gradually stopped doing something that you did before. So verb in the negative plus yo ni naru. So na yo ni naru. Gradually stopped doing something that you did before. That's what that one means. So depending on the ending of the verb, the meaning changes. And we're going to go over some examples of all of those now. So the first one's a nice long one. 友達が筋トレの仕方を教えてくれたが、のがOh, caught a mistake. のがきっかけでジムに行くようになった. Okay, we got a mistake there in the sentence. Caught it quickly though. This should be こと or no. Sorry about that. 友達が筋トレの仕方を教えてくれたのがきっかけでジムに行くようになった. So we are going to use きっかけand ようになった together. So the initial reason that I started going to the gym regularly or habitually, that's what yo ni natta implies, is that my friend was kind enough to teach me, 教えてくれた how to lift weights. ゆきはそれを今直してくれる？スライド空いてる？うん、お願いします。直したか？ Okay. So that should be 直らない。Oh well. 多分一回消したらまた直る。Well, you know what? I'll just pop it out really quickly. あら？ちょっと待って。大丈夫。はい。Okay. So now that should be correct. Okay. 友達が筋トレの仕方を教えてくれたのがきっかけでジムに行くようになった。Okay, we fixed that. So, the ようになった here, 行くようになった became, like, started doing something regularly. So, started going to the gym regularly. ジムに行くようになった. So, that's the main sentence here that is using ようになった is ジムに行くようになった. I started going to the gym regularly. And what ようになった implies here, as opposed to just ジムにit implies that I didn't go to the gym before at all, but now I do it habitually. That's what this implies. Now, the rest of it is just using がきっかけで. It makes it, it's giving you the reason that I now do that habitually. 友達が筋トレの仕方を教えてくれた. So my friend taught me the way, 仕方, to lift weights. のがきっかけで That's the initial reason. ジムに行くようになった. Next sentence. 新しいパソコンを買ったから 毎日ゲームをするようになりました。I bought a new computer, so I started playing games every day. So, ゲームをするようになりました。So, I became do games is the literal translation of this. But I do it habitually now. The 毎日 also helps solidify the fact that it's habitual. But 毎日ゲームをするようになりました。It means the ようになりました, of course, implies that I didn't play games before. And now I play them habitually because the verb is in the present tense, right? The present dictionary form. 行く is also in the present dictionary form. We use から to make it a little more complicated and give you the reason. 新しいパソコンも買ったから. I bought a new computer, so 毎日ゲームをするようになりました. So I started playing games every day. Our next examples are going to be using the potential. So you'll see that how this changes the meaning a little bit from if you use a verb in the dictionary form. So 友達が教えてくれたから so it's very similar 筋トレができるようになった My friend was kind enough to teach me 友達が教えてくれたから So I became able to lift weights 筋トレができるようになった So this implies that I couldn't do it before. It doesn't mean that I didn't do it before. Maybe I tried, but I couldn't. But 筋トレができるようになった means I became able to now. We had this verb a couple weeks ago in our part 1, 思いつく, 思いついた. It's an N2 verb that means to come into my head or to come to mind or, to come to mind. So I wanted to use it again. 思いついた歌を弾けるようになりたい. I want to become able to play songs that come into my head. So you can put the なる in the ようになるin any tense you want, pretty much. You can even say, I want to become able to do this. So I cannot do this thing now. I cannot play songs that come into my head. I can't. I wish I could. So 思いついた歌を弾けるようになりたい. I want to become able to play songs that come into my mind. We're going to cover the negative version in the dialogue. So let's go ahead and jump into the dialogue. I'll read it slowly once, then at full speed, and then I'll get to your questions and question time. ごめん。ユキは安藤さんのことあまり好きじゃないと思ってなかなか誘えないようになった。なるほど。アンディを誘わないようになろうかな。なんだよ、急に。安藤さんと遊べばもっと飲めるようになるかもしれないし。プン。一体何が起こったんだろう、今。Full speed。ごめん、ユキは安藤さんのことあんまり好きじゃないと思ってなかなか誘えないようになった。なるほど。アンディを誘わないようになろうかな。なんだよ、急に。安藤さんと遊べばもっと飲めるようになるかもしれないし。プン。一体何が起こったんだろう、今。Let's go with the English translation. So, ごめん、ユキは安藤さんのことあんまり好きじゃないと思って。So, before I get to the next part, sorry, I thought you didn't like Ando-san much. I thought you didn't like Ando-san much. ユキはAndo-sanのことあんまり好きじゃないと思って。I thought you didn't like Ando-san much, so なかなか誘えないようになった. So なかなか plus a negative verb means cannot easily do or cannot easily do something. So in this situation, I translated to a little difficult. And then 誘 is to invite. So なかなか誘えない. Cannot easily invite is what that translates to. But then ようになった means that I gradually became unable to invite you. Gradually, ne? Because the negative plus ようになる implies a gradual change. Now, the reason I want to mention that is that in quartet, it actually mentions, like in the actual little note for how to make it, it only actually mentions the dictionary form of verbs plus ようになる, or the potential forms. And then there's a little thing after that. It has ないようになる and なくなる. And it looks like when you read that you can use なくなる, so 見なくなった, I stopped watching versus 見ないようになった. There's a question mark. So it implies if you look at this that you can't use ないようになる is what the quartet entry looks like. But that's not the case. I don't know why it's like that. The sentence that they give you doesn't make sense. Doesn't quite work because I actually mentioned this in a little bit more detail in the bonus video that's coming out tomorrow. But 全然テレビを見ないようになった is the sentence that they have as the example. And the reason that one doesn't make much sense is because 大学に入ってから全然テレビを見ないようになった doesn't make sense because it implies a sudden change when they went to college with the 全然, which means completely did not do or never do, completely never do watch TV, whereas ないようになる implies a gradual change. So the reason that sentence is weird is not because ないようになる is weird. It's because what they're talking about is a sudden change, and ないようになる implies a gradual change. But there's nothing in the lesson that explains that. Fortunately, the grammar dictionaries do. So that was good. If you want to explain a sudden change that happened, that you stopped doing something, you use なくなる. So 食べなくなった. Stopped eating something, basically, stopped eating something that you used to eat. onion も食べなくなった. I stopped eating onions. Whereas if you gradually over time stopped eating onions, onion を食べないようになった would be perfectly fine. So don't let that part in quartet confuse you. It is okay to use the negative with ようになる, but it implies a gradual change as opposed to a sudden change, which the present tense and the potential do imply. So it's a little bit confusing there. Okay. なるほど. I see. アンディを誘わないようになろうかな? I guess I'll go ahead and become able to invite you. So we've got the negative here again. And it's sort of just a play on words. Yuki's saying, I guess I just will become able to not invite you over time as well. The naro is the volitional. So I'll go ahead and become able to invite you. Being a little angry because Ando and Andy didn't invite her to drinking parties. Turns out that was something she wasn't happy about. なんだよ, 急に. What the heck all of a sudden? 急に, all of a sudden. なんだよ. What the heck? なんだよ, 急に. 安藤さんと遊べば, if I hang out with 安藤さん, もっと飲めるようになるかもしれないし. I might become able to drink more too. So here we've got the present tense. So will become かもしれない, maybe or probably. So もっと飲めるようになるかもしれないし. Pum. Pum is an angry sound effect for when people turn away like this. That's what that is. 一体 what on earth 何が起こったんだろう今一体何が起こったんだろう今 What on earth just happened right now? Question time. What is something you can't do now that you want to become able to do? So ピアノを弾けるようになりたい I want to become able to play the piano. So you're going to have to use the potential form of a verb and ようになりたいthis if you want to. So what is something you cannot do now that you want to become able to do? Throw question time up there. 友達にこのチャンネルをしゃれたのが多分 OK spell mistake ね答えたか OK 教えられたのがきっかけでチャンネルに行きました OK thank you very much Yuki already answered appreciate that Okay so what do you guys want to become able to do Yuki-chan do we have any tea left? ないかしょうがないいいよ大丈夫水あるよ大丈夫Guys, give me 2 seconds. I need to blow my nose because of these allergies. Okay, sorry about that. Q time. 漢字を読めるようになりたい。いいですね。Me too. 日本人と 日本語を話すようになりたい。ね、日本語で話すようになりたいですよね。歌うようになりたい。
話せるように
あ、そうだね。どこだと。あ、話せるね。
だってここは
そうだね。日本人と日本語で話せるようになりたい。いや、でも、Now, we're using the potential form for this question, but that sentence is fine. 日本語で話すようになりたい. But it means something different, right? You want to start speaking to Japanese people habitually, like regularly, is what that sentence means, which is fine. 日本人と日本語で話すようになりたい. That's what that means. But if you want to say you want to become able to speak to Japanese people, 日本人と日本語で話せるようになりたい is what you'd want to say there. 歌うようになりたい, so same idea there. 歌うようになりたい means that you want to start singing regularly, like habitually almost, and you don't sing now, is what it also implies. What you're probably going for is 歌えるようになりたい. I want to become able to sing. So you need the potential form of 歌う. So 歌えるようになりたい is what you want there, Sentak. I imagine. いろいろな漫画を読めるようになりたい. So いろいろ is a na adjective. So いろいろな漫画. Nice. 日本語を辞書がなくても読めるようになりたい. OK.
もがないね。辞書がなくて読めるようになりたい。まあいいかな。
なくても、OK, there was no mo. Good point.
でももうはそれは超コンプリケーテッド
そう
パーティクルじゃない？
そう it just means テモ. We've covered テモ before, I think. テモはやったことあるんじゃない？ Yeah, you want the mo there. I think I automatically read it in there just assuming it was there. I don't know if we've covered that already in Genki or if it's coming up soon, but it means even if I don't have a dictionary, I want to be able to read Japanese even without a dictionary. So, 辞書がなくても日本語を話せる、読めるようになりたい。ね、読めるようになりたい。ナイス。10キロメートルを走れるようになりたい。Good. 10キロメートル。Kilometer is so hard to say. We usually just say kilo. 10キロを走れるようになりたい. That's why I can't say it, because I never say it. I just say kilo. ペラペラに話せるようになりたい. ペラペラに話せるようになりたい. ペラペラに英語と日本語ペラペラ話せるようになり、いや、違うと思うよ。
違うんだ。
if you wanna、ペラペラ話せるようになりたいと、ペラペラに話せるようになりたいって結構違う意味だよね。ペラペラってずっと喋れるようになりたいで。So if you're just to say ペラペラ話せるようになりたい means that you just wanna speak lots. But ペラペラに話せるようになりたい would be I want to be able to become fluent, basically. ペラペラに英語と日本語で話せるようになりたい says Khaled. Perfect. 楽な暮らしをいけるようになり、いける You can't
できるだな。
Okay, so that's actually one of those verbs that you can't use. So one thing I forgot to mention that I'll have to put back in the cut is that you can't use verbs that like have change implied within them. Or like ikiru is like something that, you know, just happens over time. It's not necessarily something you do. But you also cannot use verbs that imply change, like futoru to get fat, or yaseru to lose weight, or to fueru to increase. And I feel like ikiru would work, I guess. 生きるようになる。生きれるか。
だって生きる。でもこれさ、振り仮名の問題かな。でも違うよね。生きるようになりたいなってるから、生きれるだね。
生きれるか。生きるは生きれる。いる。It's an ichidan verb. Okay, so it doesn't change that I forgot to say this before. So you can't use verbs that imply change already. いける is fine, but いける needs to be changed. you need to use 生きる which is to live, and then change it to the potential, which would be 生きれるようになりたい to make that work. Okay. So 楽な暮らしを生きれるようになりたい. There we go. 日本語で文を書けるようになりたい. いいですね. Nice. 日本語を話せて読めるようになりたい. Nice. Perfect. By the way, how to catch up with the current kanji in quartet? There's some kanji I can't read though. Maybe reviewing all the kanji from Genki 1 and 2. There's a kanji section in the back. Once again, I don't love the kanji sections in Genki and quartet, but there is a brush up section for the kanji in the back of the book that might help you a little bit. Once again, I always recommend studying kanji separately from your grammar textbook because grammar textbooks generally aren't that great at teaching kanji, so using a separate method. So if you can't read the kanji in the textbook yet, well, what are you going to do? Just keep going with whatever kanji method you are using. If you're not using a kanji method at all, then maybe you can start one or you can use the brush up section at the back of the book. But otherwise, I wouldn't worry about it too much. The words you don't know, you can make sure that they're in your Anki deck or whatever with the kanji included so that you can pick them up. But otherwise, just keep going with whatever method you're using to learn kanji. 漢字を覚えるようになりたい. 覚えられるようになりたい. It needs to be in the potential. Yeah, you're going to want the potential there. 覚えられるようになりたい. Or you're meaning that 覚える, if you just mean 覚える, it means that you will regularly start memorizing kanji. Like you want to start memorizing kanji regularly. But I don't think that's what you mean. I think you mean that you want to become able to memorize kanji. And if that's the case, you want to say 覚えられるようになりたい. はい、何ですか?
さっきの覚えられるもそうですけど、覚えれるもいいんだよね。
もちろんだけど、オフィシャルではダメですよね。
すいません。じゃあ、さっきの生きれるは間違えました。
生きられる。Yeah, okay. Yuki wanted to mention that the 生きれる is the unofficial sort of conversational version. 生きられる is the official version, which means that 覚えられる you could also do 覚えれる if you wanted to for the shortened version conversationally. Currently I'm Wanikani, but they seem to have a different pace. Yeah, I mean, every single method out there is going to have a different order of the kanji, so not much you can do about that. If you're feeling way behind, it may be worth it to put a little bit more time into Wanikani than you're putting into the textbook so that you can sort of get caught up a little bit. That's generally what I did. When I was studying Japanese, if I felt like I was falling behind in one part and way ahead on the other, I was usually way ahead on grammar. That's why I'm okay at explaining it, because I focused a lot on grammar. I would go back and I'd take a break from grammar and focus on kanji more. Now, if you want to keep up with us, I understand why you wouldn't want to do that. But yeah, poor deleted ras is Ryuji. But yeah, that's one option, is to take a break from the grammar for a little bit and focus on the kanji more. Or just accept that it's going to take a little while to get caught up with what is... Quartet does drop a lot of furigana. But yeah. Those are your options, pretty much. 漢字を覚える... Oh yeah, we already covered that one. Okay. 日本語を辞書がなくても読めるようになりたいというのが良い. Yes, that's it. Perfect. 日本に来れるようになりたい. 行けるようになりたいかな? I think you might want to say, unless you're in Japan. Because 来れる implies that you're already here. You want to be able to come to Japan. But if you're not in Japan, that doesn't quite work. So I think what you want to say is 日本に行けるようになりたい. So 行ける. Different verb than the last 行ける. So 行ける with that verb right there. 筋肉を減らす足し太ったし減らしたし太ったしジムに毎日行けるようになりたいと思う。なりたいなと思う。なるほどね。 減らしたかな。筋肉を減らしたし、太ったし、ジムに毎日行けるようになりたい。Okay, so the only thing that was wrong there was the 減らす becomes 減らした。Otherwise fine, good. Yeah, okay. もう一個、抜き言葉。そう。なるほど。Okay. Sweet. 僕もピアノを弾けるようになりたい。says Yatish. Nice. Okay. Good job, guys. Lots of good responses. And a few things to remember to add to the cut, Andy. So here's a note for you. You missed something. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on. Wow, it's 10:30. Let's go ahead and move on to... Well, there's only 2 sections left. Okay. And the last section is very short. Pause. Take a breath. Let's go ahead and move on to make a point of and make sure to with ようにする. So, ようにする versus the ているform, ようにしている have slightly different meanings. So I'm going to teach them slightly separately. So, ようにする means that you're going to make a point of doing something in the future. To say that, you take the dictionary form of a verb plus ようにする. You can also take the negative, the short negative of a verb, and add ようにする to say that you're going to make a point of not doing something in the future. Now, if you use ようにし... Let me get comfortable. Now, if you use ようにしている, it means you're making an effort to do something now, presently, currently. I'm doing this thing or making a point of doing this thing. It doesn't necessarily mean you're succeeding, but you're making a point of trying to do this thing. So for that, you use, once again, the dictionary form of a verb or the short negative and ようにしている. And that means I am currently making an effort to do something. First example, nice short one. それを言わないようにする. I'll make it a point to not say that. 明日早く着くようにします. I'll make sure that I arrive early tomorrow. 明日早く着くようにします. So, for example, maybe you were late today and your boss is angry. So you say, すいません、明日早く着くようにします. Something like that, right? I'll make sure that I arrive early tomorrow. I promise. Or your mom's angry because you keep saying a bad word. それを言わないようにします. Or それを言わないようにする. For example, right? Now with している, you may remember from Genki 2, ことにしている. And this is similar, but ことにしている means that you are doing that thing right now. Whereas ようにしてる means that you're making an effort to do that thing right now. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're succeeding every day or that you are doing it every day. It doesn't imply that like ことにしている does. ことにしている means you're doing it every day. This means I'm making an effort to do it regularly or whatever. So there's where the difference is with those two. First sentence, 最近毎日8時間寝るようにしている. Recently, I've been making an effort to sleep for 8 hours every night. It doesn't necessarily mean that I am sleeping for 8 hours every night. I'm making an effort to, and I am right now. Recently. 最近毎日8時間寝ることにしています means that I've decided to and I am sleeping for 8 hours every night. So there's where the difference is. 野菜をもっと食べるようにしていないよ. This is sort of a weird sentence. So I haven't been making an effort to eat more vegetables, actually. So it's a very specific example for a very specific situation, but I just wanted to point out that you can conjugate the teiru into the negative if you want, though it's probably not extremely common. So what might have happened here is someone said, "Oh, you've been eating a lot of vegetables lately, or you've been making a point to eat a lot of vegetables lately, eh?" 野菜をもっと食べるようにしていないよ. I haven't been making an effort to eat more vegetables, actually. Kind of a weird specific example, but you can do it. So those are the two main ways you're going to be using ようにする. Make a point to in the future, or make a point to not do in the future, or I am making a point of doing something, or I am not making a point or I'm making a point of not doing something. So one other thing, if we just jump back up here, I don't have an example like that. I might have one in the bonus video, I can't remember. But 野菜を食べないようにしている, if we had changed it to that instead, it would mean that I'm making a point to not eat vegetables. So, 野菜を食べないようにしている. That's what that means. I'm making a point to not eat vegetables, whereas this is, I haven't been making a point of eating more vegetables. So slightly different, right? All right, let's jump into the dialogue slowly once, then at full speed, then we'll get to question time. おい、安藤さん。はーい、どうした？一緒に飲む？いいんじゃない？これからもっと飲むようにしたい。もっと飲むようにするんだ。素敵だね。ちなみにアンディから安藤さんは私が安藤さんを無視しているって思っているって聞いたけど、そうじゃないよ。アンディがそれ言っちゃったの？ひどい。Full speed。おい、安藤さん。はーい、どうした？一緒に飲む？いいんじゃない？これからもっと飲むようにしたい。もっと飲むようにするんだ。もっと飲むようにするんだ。素敵だね。ちなみにアンディから安藤さんは私が安藤さんを無視しているって思っているって聞いたけど、そうじゃないよ。アンディさんがそれ言っちゃったの？ひどい。There's a really long one there that is confusing. We'll get to it. おい、安藤さん。Hey, 安藤さん。はーい。どうした？ Hey, what's up? 一緒に飲む？ Shall we drink together? Or let's drink together? いいんじゃない？ Sure. Why not? これから from now on もっと飲むようにしたい。I want to make it a point to drink more. Not many people probably come in with that goal, but apparently Yuki has that goal today. もっと飲むようにしたい. From now on, I want to make it a point to drink more. もっと飲むようにするんだ. 素敵だね. You're going to make it a point to drink more. That's wonderful, isn't it? I guess. Okay, so here's our nice long sentence that has nothing to do with the grammar point, but we're going to break it down anyway. ちなみに, by the way, アンディから from Andy, 安藤さんは私が安藤さんを無視しているって思っているって聞いたけど。So, I heard from Andy. アンディから聞いたけど。So there's our first part. アンディから聞いたけど。What did I hear? 安藤さんは思っている。So there's our next part, the next sandwich. 安藤さんは思っている。So what is he thinking? 安藤さん thinks that 私が安藤さんを無視している。That's what he thinks. So there's the inner circle right here. 私が安藤さんを無視している。I am ignoring you, 安藤さん。安藤さん thinks that. 安藤さんは思っている。And I heard that, you think that. 聞いたけど from Andy さん。Andy さんから聞いたけど。So two sandwiches with the main point on the inside. 私が安藤さんを無視している。Being the main point. そうじゃないよ。That's not the case though, you know? アンディがそれ言っちゃったの？ Andy went and said that? ひどい。That's terrible. Question time. What is something you're making an effort to do regularly? Are, right now. 毎日勉強するようにしています。I'm making an effort to study every day. That's not true. I haven't been studying enough recently. But anyway. My nose. Can you hear it? Do I sound as nasally as I feel? Whew. Ukeru, says Yatish. Andy, hello, Fatima Sohail Kang. How's it going? Donmai desu, says Michael. Andy さんは不眠がある? Are you sleepy? 眠い? No, I have allergies. I'm assuming. It's all I can think of. So my eyes are burning and my nose is stuffy. I seem to have allergies to grass pollen. Let's look it up. It seems that every time I get these symptoms, it's because there's heavy grass pollen. Let's check the pollen counts in Nagano right now. Nagano pollen. Pollen count and allergy info in Nagano. Yep, there it is. Grass pollen. Very high. See? Every time I feel like this, I'm like, oh, am I getting a cold? And I look up pollen counts, and grass pollen is very high. So I have to assume it's grass pollen that is destroying me. My eyes have been burning, like on fire all day. And my nose is getting stuffier and stuffier as the night goes on. So I'm going to blow it really quick, even though there's nothing there. Sorry about that. Jeez. Ugh. So annoying. So yeah, I'm not sleepy at all. Just that. Allergies. 長い文章になれない勉強、になれない。勉強している視聴者の頭がぐるぐるかもしれない。まあ、ぐるぐるするかもしれないね。まあ、possibly. It's a very long sentence, but you can break it down, man. There's always going to be a sandwich in a sentence like that, you know? The first part and the end part, and then there's another one, and then the main point's in the center. So it's good to think about that. I think there's a big part in Quartet that sort of points in how to find subordinate sentences like that. So I thought I'd make a nice long one for you. 怒らないようにしている。いいですね。I'm not going to say what you just said. Maybe I will. She's talking about her sister, not you. 最近毎日日本語を勉強するようにしています。いいですね、Lynn. Wonderful. 毎日運動するようにしています。選択。Me too. That's what I should have put. 俺も毎日運動するようにしています。毎日ギターを弾くようにしています。Nice. ギターだね。ギター。I missed it too. ギター素晴らしすぎる says ゆきさん。毎日十分寝るようにしています。いいですね。10分じゃなくてね、十分。you mean 十分, right? Not 10分. Because I could read that either way, and we're gonna go with 十分。毎日昼ご飯を食べるようにしています。Nice. Did you usually not before? Question time. 長い文章を使いたいから毎日暗記とアニカに復習するようにしています。いいですね、Felipe. Great sentence. You're succeeding. Great. 毎日掃除するようにしています。Nice. Oh, my ears. Now my ears are clogging. This is annoying. 学校にも暗記を使うようにしている。ただ、何を置いておくかわからない。置いておく do you mean what you don't know what to put in? 何を入れておくかわからない。何入れた方がいいかわからないかな。Do you mean you don't know what you should put in Anki? So I think I would say 何を入れた方がいいかわからない。Would work better there. もっと優しいokay. This is complicated. What you want here is, so we in Genki 2 we covered ku naru. I don't know if you remember that, turning become an adjective. That was, I believe, in the last lesson of Genki 2. So what you'd say is 優しくなるようにしています。もっと優しくなるようにしています。That's what you would go for there. So you're going to combine two different grammar points. もっと優しくなるようにしています。That's great. 最近毎日 NHK に単語に簡単なニュースを読む習慣を作るようにしています。Nice. Great. なるほど。OK です。Damn, I can't make a proper sentence tonight. No worries. That's a hard one. I didn't cover how to do that. So, well, I mean, it's combining two grammar points. So, of course, I wouldn't have been able to imagine that you were going to do that one. But anyway. Okay, good job, guys. My head is slowly. I missed the sa. Yeah, sorry. Let's delete that and add sa. Sorry. Remove. Paste. Yasashi. Yasashiku naru yoni shite imasu. Anyway, my head is literally expanding from these allergies and I'm not feeling wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and slip right into according to with noun plus ni yoru to. According to, we've covered this before actually when we were talking about quotations way back in Genki 1, I believe. And this was sort of a footnote or just an offhanded point within to yu. I can't remember exactly what point it was included in actually in Genki 1, but it was mentioned, but we're going to go over it slightly more tonight, and that is noun plus ni yoru to. One thing to mention though is that you need generally at the end of the sentence with ni yoru to soda or dashi. We covered dashi last week and a little bit of soda in the question and answer section. Soda and dashi are very similar. Soda generally is used for saying exactly what someone said, sort of, yeah, exactly what they said. And dashi may have a little bit more of the speaker's opinion on the matter, but yeah, something that they heard somewhere. So ni yoru to means according to something apparently, right? With soda and dashi. So you need to have those. So I think ni yoru to was included in the section on soda and Genki 2 maybe. So that might be where we covered it a little bit there. We've already covered it a little bit and it's very straightforward. So I only have 2 examples for this tonight. And they are tenki yoho ni yoru to ashita wa oame da sou desu. According to the weather forecast, tenki yoho ni yoru to, it appears that tomorrow will be heavy rain. So, ni yoru to feels kind of official. Yeah, but it can be used in regular conversation as well. But a lot of times where you're going to see it is when they're referring to something official sounding, like the weather report, or according to a report, or according to the news, or according to, something official sounding. But it's not always the case. There are situations like this as well where it's used. Ando-san no hanashi ni yoru to, yuki ni kirawareteiru rashii. So notice we have so desu and in the first one and rashii here. According to Ando-san's story, Ando-san no hanashi ni yoru to, he is hated by Yuki, apparently. So that's what he said. And apparently that's a fact, but it's according to him. So we need the apparently, because we don't know for a fact. It's just according to this or according to this report, this is going to happen. And softening things like that in Japanese is very, very common and important. Adding that apparently to not imply any finality or confidence in an answer is very important. So those are the 2 examples, and I use it a few times in this dialogue, or maybe just one time. But we're going to do the dialogue, I'll read it slowly one time, then at full speed we'll go into question time, and hopefully my head will still be on, and it's not ballooning completely off of me by the time we get done here. All right. なんで俺が言ったこと全部ユキに言うの？だってみんな仲良くしてほしいから。なんかひどいね。ごめん。まあ、ユキによるとこれからもっと飲むようにしたいそうだ。だからユキと飲むかな？アンディじゃなくて。ピエーンAlright, full speed. なんで俺が言ったこと全部ユキに言うの？だってみんな仲良くしてほしいから。なんかひどいね。ごめん。まあ、ユキによるとこれからもっと飲むようにしたいそうだ。だからユキと飲むかな？アンディじゃなくて。ピエン。Let's go with the English. なんで Why? 俺が言ったことThe things I said, everything I said 全部俺が言ったこと全部 everything I said ユキに言うの Why would you tell Yuki everything I said is the full thing だって Because みんな仲良くしてほしいから I want everyone to get along なんかひどいね Nanka is, that's like it. Nanka is like the American English like. Like, I don't know. Like this, like that. Nanka. Try using it. It's just like the American like. It's a little less cringy. I don't know. Is it cringy? Is like cringy in American English? We just use it all the time. But nanka is pretty common to use. Nanka hidoi ne. Gomen. Sorry. Okay, long sentence. Ma. Yuki ni yoru to. So, according to Yuki. Like I said, it's often used with official sounding things, but it doesn't have to be. It can be just used with people's names. Or people's stories or things like that. It's not always something official. And in this case, it's just Yuki. Yuki ni yoru to, これからもっと飲むようにしたいそうだ。飲むようにしたいそうだ。Apparently, Yuki wants to make it a point to drink more from now on. It's just literally, you just read it backwards for the English. Apparently, Yuki wants to make it a point to drink more from now on. Just backwards. だから、so, Yuki と飲むかな? I guess I'll drink with Yuki. Andy じゃなくて, not Andy. Bien. Bien is just a sound that means like boo-hoo, but literally boo-hoo, not like the sarcastic boo-hoo. Bien. It's a sound effect in Japanese, so enjoy that. All right, that brings us to question time. Tell me some news you heard recently and where you heard it from. For me, Yuki によると、日本の消費税は15% まで上がるそうです。According to Yuki, it appears that Japan's consumption tax will rise to 15%. Eventually 20 is their goal, but that won't be for a while, hopefully. It just went up from 8 to 10 like 2 years ago.
By 2013.
By 2000... hi. By 2030 for 20%. But yeah, they want to get back to 1,000 yen, the $1,000 that they sent to all the to everyone in Japan for the, the Corona thing. They sent $1,000 out just like America, but they want it back basically. So they're going to raise the consumption tax. So, thanks, Japan. That's my news. What do you guys got? アレルギー。So, アレルギーの薬を飲みませんか? So no, I don't have allergy medicine. This kind of allergy, right, is called 花粉症. Regular allergies, like having an allergy to peanuts or something, would be アレルギー. But for seasonal allergies, we call them 花粉症. 花粉症. Some people, yeah, hay fever is another way to put it, but seasonal allergies is probably a more common usage word we use for perhaps. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, no, I don't, because it's weird. I got a test a couple years ago to see if I had allergies. And I don't know if they didn't test for grass. I can't remember if it was actually on the test. I don't remember. But all I came back with is an allergy to moths, cockroaches, and なんだっけ? もう一つ. Maybe just moths and cockroaches. Something like that. I don't know. That's all that came back. But I'm like 99% sure that there's also grass, so it might not be something they usually test for. I don't think most Japanese people have an issue with it. Sugi, a type of tree. What's sugi in English again? Is it cedar? Sugi. Let's look it up. Yeah, Japanese cedar. Sugi, this one, is what most people here. A lot of people have allergies for the pollen from Japanese cedars, and I don't seem to have an issue with that, but that's earlier in the year. So like a month ago, everyone was having issues. I started a little bit later, so I have to assume it's the grass, but it didn't come back on the test a couple years ago, so I didn't get medicine for it. I have to look at that test report and see if the grass is on there. I can't remember. It comes over time. So Yuki's mentioning how, you can develop these kind of seasonal allergies. Like I didn't have any allergies when I first came to Japan. I seem to have developed this one. Thank you very much, 108 Mayor, for becoming an annual member over on ToKiniAndy.com. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. 田中さんによると、このハンバーガーは美味しいらしい。お？どのハンバーガー？俺も食べたいですけれど。Buffalo chicken かな says Yuki. The English name I frequently hear for sugi is cryptomedia. Oh, yeah, you're right. Actually, that is I just used the Omi-chan on it, and Japanese cedar can also be read as Cryptomedia japonica. I guess that's the official scientific name of the tree. How on earth do you cope with hay fever when it's rude to blow your nose? It's not really that rude. You can do it. But I guess it is a little bit rude to blow your nose, but not really. It's not so much rude as in people just don't do it. It's actually really annoying. I have a difficult. I'm more used to it now, but my first 5 years in Japan, you know how annoying it is at that time of year to just have people sniffling their runny noses constantly. They just don't blow their nose. So you're just surrounded by people going like that constantly. It's like, dude, blow your nose. There's no way that's more annoying than what's going on right now. So that's something you have to get used to. But I don't think that people don't do it because it's rude, because I do see people blow their nose sometimes and nobody bats an eye. But yeah, people just don't. 天気予報によると、来週からいい天気になるそうです。いいですね、スペー。Perfect. Q time. 陣屋さんによると、マンツチさんはクビになります。あららら。マンツチさんって誰でしょうか。
それ会社のお話。
やばいね。陣屋さんによると、apparently someone's getting fired named Jinya, according to Mantsuchi. アレルギーなどのない僕はアレルギーを持つことが恐ろしいみたいな生活だ。Well, you don't have any allergies now. You might develop some later, but yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, it doesn't last long. This will happen to me for 2 weeks, some days. This is the second day so far this year. 友達によると、みんなはアレルギーがあるらしい。I don't know if everyone does. Everyone's got something, I imagine. Some kind of allergy. But 私、汚いね。いや、大丈夫だろう。政府によると、フランスの、外出禁止令。That's a curfew, guys. 外出禁止令は6月30日に終わるそうだ。おめでとうございます。っていうか、I can't believe how long that curfew's lasted. Wow. But congratulations. I hope it's done for good then. ニュースによると、星野源とゆいあがらきゆいあらがき名前星野源とゆいあらがきが結婚しますね。Nice. No idea who they are. I'm terrible with Japanese pop culture. You guys gotta understand, I didn't study Japanese because I'm interested in Japan. I studied Japanese because I was in Japan and I wanted to talk to the people around me. I have developed interest in Japan over time and in some Japanese media over time. But the reason I started learning Japanese is because I was here and I was like, if I'm going to stay here for another year, I should at least be able to talk to the people around me who aren't just other English teachers. So that's why I learned Japanese. Yuki's raising her hand. Hi. Yuki wants to say a fun fact. Yes, of course. Hi. They were in a movie together, weren't they? They were in a drama together. Okay, no, I did see news about that recently. Hi.
日本ではそういう超人気のアクトレス、特にアクトレスが結婚する
はい。
なんていう ニュースが出るとストックマーケットが下がるんだよ。
なんで？
わかんない。ショックで。
Apparently
会社を休む人も多発。
なんかバカすぎるだろ。
ショックで。
So Yuki just told me a fun fact. She said when news happens in Japan of a famous actress or idol getting married, the stock market goes down. The stock market drops. And quite a few people take the time off from work due to shock because of a famous actress getting married. See, these are just some of the things I don't get used to living here. What? What? Whatever. Okay. I believe her. 100%. I remember the first time I went to Japan, I got a cold because of the jet lag and air conditioner everywhere. I blew my nose all the time, everywhere for a few days. Then I discovered it was rude and I died inside. Yeah, you're fine. Nobody cares. Especially if if we look like this. Definitely no one cares. I mean, maybe if you're in the middle of a crowded, quiet train and you blow your nose a lot, really, really loudly, it might be a little rude. But wouldn't that be a little rude even in the States? Like, I feel like that would be. But, like, you know, you try to... That kind of thing. Should be fine. I don't know the kanjis for their names. Me neither. I don't know name kanji very well. PTA ね。PTA によると、なんだっけどうやって読むんだっけ旧同級生と同じ学校に行けるようにならない。Oh, that's too bad. だし。Yeah, you want to add だし or そうだ。So, ならない。だし or そうだ。That's too bad. Question によると、によって、によれば
によるとと、によってと、によれば。
Seems same. I wonder if there's any difference.
でも、によっては違くない？
So によって is definitely different.
によればとよるとは同じだ。
によればによって are very similar according to Yuki. によって is によって what is it again? によって again is
because of じゃない。because of 何々が that's why 何々だからの
人によってそうそうそうそう。I remember now. So 人による人によって違うとかって感じだよね。人によって違う。Yeah, it's complete によって is completely different. So によって is they come from the same thing. So によると right? So it's 夜 is the same kind of idea, but によって generally means what's the English? So 人によって違う. So that sentence means different for different people, basically. Depends on. Yeah, depends on. There you go. Depends on. Jeez, yeah, good. That's what I was looking for. Thank you so much. It means it depends on. So 人によって違う means it's different depending on the people. So completely different meaning for によって, just so you know. によれば might be the same, but I've never used it. Doesn't mean it's not used. It just means によると might be more common.
なんかよればの方が more なんていうの家庭系通かな
家庭
もし if が強いというか
そうだね。
よればの方が if が強い。
Yeah, so the によると is using the と conditional, and によれば is obviously the ば conditional. The ば might make the if stand out a little bit more. I don't know. We'll have to look into that one.
だからなんか unsure なやつ先生によれば校長先生は辞めるらしいとか
その uncertainty の方
そうそう
よれば might have a little bit more uncertainty. Yuki's looking it up. She's not sure exactly what the difference is. But they are very similar. よればand よると but よって is completely different. That's crazy. Yeah, who knows, man. I got big lungs. When I sneeze, a bomb goes off. Can I just say hats off to all people who got this far in Japanese. I wish I didn't have a job so I could focus on this more. Props to everyone. Good job and keep it up. And thank you again, Gate Killer. Thank you for the drinks. Being with Andy for over 9 months, he has the best teacher with the best assistant in the world. Thank you so much, Yuki Bob. And don't forget Dan the Mod. Haha. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Which brings us to thumbs up を攻撃してください。チャンネル登録お願いします. So please smash the thumbs up button if you haven't yet already. I think most of you have. And if you're not subscribed, which I would be very surprised at if you're at this point in the video, please チャンネル登録お願いします. Please subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we go live next week with the practice stream for lesson 1. Part 2. Yuki has an update on によると and によれば. はい。同じだそうです. They're apparently the same. Exactly the same. Either one is fine. Considering that Yoruto has showed up in both Genki and Quartet, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that Ni Yoruto is more common. But they're apparently the same. ありがとうございます, Tony. Appreciate that. Thank you guys. Great night with you all. Thank you so much. I had a good time too. I hope I was understandable despite my brain being a balloon, my face being a balloon, my eyes being on fire. I'm glad I don't look like my eyes are on fire. So that's good at least. 配信終了となり、再び1週間待機する。いつも通り。ありがとうございます。すごいね。1週間も待機する。Don't forget to study math though if you're... お疲れ様でした。こちらこそお疲れ様でした。ご苦労様。ありがとうございます。いえいえ、こちらこそ Thank you guys. If you guys weren't here, this wouldn't be nearly as much fun. Thank you. Wish I was keeping up with you, but I feel I'm actually going backwards on Genki 2. I'm sorry to hear that. We're going to try and get up a bunch of more videos, and I'm actually going to be adding some exercises that I feel like might help with Genki 2 and late Genki 1. I'm going to be adding some exercises, sort of individual challenges on the website. I can't easily add them to Patreon. It just won't work. So, but if you're on the website, I'm going to be adding a sort of individual challenge. So it's not something that we will check like the challenges. It's going to be something extra where I sort of send you on a mission to, and it's not that difficult. We have tools to use nowadays that make this very simple, to find actual examples of real people using the grammar points and the vocabulary in YouTube videos and stuff. And fortunately, there's a tool to do that. I'll be showing you guys how to do that in those posts when I put them up on the website. So hopefully next week I have to work on getting the writing course finished so that we can release that for lesson 2. We've almost got the first lesson on there ready to go, which as soon as the first lesson is ready to go, we can launch that into the interwebs. And after that, that should be ready to go midweek this week, but I'm not going to launch it until next week. So as soon as we have it set up, I'm going to start working on getting those sort of individual bonus challenges up that I think sort of might help it stick a little bit more. Because I've found actually when looking up grammar points for myself recently, new ones, it's really helped. Seeing how real people use it, like 100 examples, it's a great way to learn. So, I'll be adding that soon. Yeah, and fortunately, there's a way you can do it really easily. So I'll probably actually make a regular YouTube video about this idea. I'm gonna see how it works. I'm gonna put up the exercises, and if people find them useful, I'll probably make a YouTube video about it and recommend that other people try it. So that's something that's coming soon to the website that you guys can get excited about if you're a member there already. Something new, especially if you're already finished with Genki series. I recommend going back and doing these for Genki, even if you're on Quartet, because I think they'll be really useful in helping you understand the stuff you've already gone over. So yeah, those will be coming soon. So thank you guys. Thank you to the members that are here tonight and the patrons, and thank you to our new members who joined on the website while we were streaming tonight. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. And if you are an annual member who has not moved over to the new site yet, please send me a message on Patreon, and I can get you the coupon code that gets you the free access to the website for the remainder of your your annual membership on Patreon. So let me know. All right, guys. Thank you so much. My head's going to explode, so I'm going to get off for tonight, but I really appreciate you guys coming. And I hope you have a great week. We'll see you next week, next Sunday, for the practice stream. All right. お疲れ様でした。ありがとうございました。Usually watch the old grammar streams. There's so many grammar points to review. I hope that they help. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anane. Appreciate that. All right, guys. Good night. See you later. I've got to run this. Bye-bye. 日本語喋れるようになりたいのか? Hold up. We already did this. We already talked about how you can use our Genki 1 and 2 and now Quartet course to improve your Japanese. じゃあ、これは何のため? We're moving. また引っ越す? No, we're transitioning from Patreon to ToKiniAndy.com. なんで? Look. なるほど。新しいやつの方が綺麗だね。Exactly. It's easier to access, it looks better, it's easier to add new content to old lessons. I'm super excited for it.
私も出てるよ。これからよろしくお願いします。
Come join us on ToKiniAndy.com today and kickstart your Japanese learning experience. You'll have bonus grammar sentence videos, textbook practice videos, listening and shadowing videos, vocabulary videos, tests, and you'll be able to track your progress through fully structured lesson plans. Hope to see you there. よろしくね。